Alright, so what up guys, it's Kage, and back on Splitgate. But as you can see from the title, this video is not going to be about the gameplay. It's going to be the story of the first time of me doing acid. And I want to say shout out to Luna and Xcode A, because you know those are the two channels like that made me feel comfortable doing this shit. Alright, so where do I start in the story? First time doing acid. I was like 16, right? So it had to be the 10th grade. And first, let me start by saying this. My school had a fucking massive drug problem. I don't want to, put the name out there, the school I went to, but those fucking guys, it was close by the beach. And if you know anything, you know that all the druggies and fucking crackheads, they all live by the beach. They all live in the downtown area. So I remember I first heard about the shit because my boy Zay, I won't say his full fucking name, but he used to pick me up from school like, school started at 7:40 in high school, which was fucking, that was a weird time to start school, but it is what it is. But I remember one day my boy picked me up and we were going to school and he was telling me a story about, he asked me if I knew that some kid, he got caught because he tripped out on acid in class, and he was like tripping bad. They had to fucking send him home. So that was the first time I ever heard about it. But then there was this other girl who lived closer by school. So my boy Zay, he would pick me up first because I lived like right by his fucking house. And then he picked this girl up who lived like kinda by school. I literally forgot her name. I'd have to go through my phone to find her name. But for the sake of the story, let's just call her Sarah. So he would pick me up, then he would pick Sarah up. And then from Sarah's house to school, it was like 5 or 7 minutes. And when he picked her up, she was like, what did she say again? Because I don't know how the conversation got here, but I think she just blatantly asked my boy Zay if he wanted a tab or if he wanted acid or some shit like that. And I remember the whole time just laughing, like thinking like, that's crazy, like that's some white boy shit. I would never do no acid or no shit like that. So time went on, regular school day went on. And then I ended up bumping into Sarah in the hallway, like, this was like towards the end of the day. We had 7 periods, so this was either like in between 4th going to 5th or in between 5th going to 6th, and I bumped into her. And then she straight up asked me if I would serve up this kid who wanted fucking acid from her. Because I guess she was scared to serve, I don't know. She was like a little frail white girl, so I could understand that. But it was in school, so I don't think nothing would ever happen to her, but she was scared, so it is what it is. And that's not the first time I served for her, but I'll tell you about that in another story. So she asked me to serve this kid fucking acid. I felt obligated to do it. Cause like in that little group of friends, you know how there's always like a group of like sub friends, like let's say you, this guy, and this girl, and then you would have like another subgroup of friends. Within that subgroup of friends, I just felt like when it came to shit like that, they all looked up to me. So I just felt obligated to do it for her. So I was just like, whatever. Served them up. And the dude who I ended up serving actually became friends with that guy. It turns out he was cool as hell. Like, he's like one of the few people I actually texted after high school. And the same shit goes for him. I'd have to look through my old phone to fucking remember his name. But his name's not important in this story. In a future story, we'll come back around to that. We'll circle back around to that. So I remember when I served him, I asked him about it. Like, I was kind of curious. I was like, well, like, how does it feel? Like, what type of shit do you get out of it? And, he was just telling me the cliche shit about, like, colors and shit like that. He never necessarily said it felt good. Like, it was never, like, any druggy type shit. It was never, like, euphoria or, like, an opiate or no crazy shit like that. He was like, it was just, like, colors, and he liked to smoke weed on it. So I was like, I'm like, that would be cool, to see shit like in brighter colors and shit like that. And so that just stuck in my mind for like 2 days now. Like all I'm thinking about is like, damn, what would it be like to do acid? Maybe I should try it. Maybe I should try it. And then finally on the 3rd day I cracked. And this was like before school too. So this was before my boy Zay even came and picked me up. And I hit him up and I told him, because I didn't have that girl's number at the time. The same girl, Sarah. The same girl who asked me to serve for her. So I told her to ask her how much for a tab or whatever. And I forgot what she said the tabs were, like 10 mg or 10 UI or something like that. It wasn't nothing fucking ridiculous. Based on what I now know, like how high the dosages can be on some tabs. It wasn't anything crazy, right? So I remember I asked her for 2. I told Zay to ask her for 2. So I think I paid like $30 or some shit like that. I think it was 30 on the head. So we did the regular route, and this was on a Thursday. I blatantly remember this was on a Thursday. It was on a Thursday because I always remember telling myself, I'm like, fuck it, bro. Tomorrow's Friday, and I don't feel like going to school. But this was at the end of the trip. Alright, so back to where we are on the story. It was a Thursday, and got in the car with Zay, picked me up first. I think he went to McDonald's. This has nothing to do with the story, but I just think he went to McDonald's that day. I don't know why I'm saying that. Went to McDonald's. Then he picked up Sarah. And then Sarah, obviously, she gave me the 2, gave me the 2 tabs, paid her the 30. Went on about my day. And I remember as soon as I got them, I took them. No, that's a lie. I ripped one in half, which now that I know, you're not supposed to not supposed to hold the tabs or nothing like that on your bare skin. Like it'll make them weaker. Like you could basically like strip off some of the LSD or whatever. But I remember on one of them, I ripped it in half because I didn't have scissors. So I was like, fuck it. I don't want to dive in first time doing acid and do 2 tabs. So I just did 1.5. And I remember I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it early. First thing, it was like maybe 7:25 or 7:30. Because like I said, she lived like 7 minutes away from school and we used to push it. Because sometimes we would smoke at her house, like when we got there. But not going to get into that. I got to save that for another story. So it took him like 7:25, 7:30. I remember saying to myself, like, it's always been a thing where I'm like, no, if I do anything that's like any type of psychedelic, I like to do it early in the morning. So like I could come down by night. Because this wasn't my first time doing shit in that realm. So I remember I took it like 7:25, 7:30. I didn't really feel shit to like maybe it was like 15 minutes left in the first period. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel something. And then I was manning it pretty well for my first time on acid, like. But I remember I got to like 3rd period, and I was starting to feel like every time I was probably tweaking to like the teachers or something, because I would just straight up put my head down. But every time I closed my eyes, I would fucking see like I would see like kaleidoscopes, but it would be like kaleidoscopes and they would form a face. And I would just remember that so blatantly. Like I was like, yo, that is fucking crazy. And then it was like 3rd, 4th period. It was 4th period because this was after lunch. So like I said, I did this at the beginning of the day, manning it the whole day. It was enjoyable somewhat. I remember every time I picked up my phone and I looked at my phone, it was like all the apps looked like they were wiggling. And I don't know, I just found that cool as shit. And so this is 4th period after lunch. I don't know why, or it was just the people I was around, but now it's like, all right, this shit is hitting me kind of hard. So fucking, I remember this one girl, her name was Delaney. She was a 9th grader when I was in 10th grade. but I looked like a grown-ass man already in 10th grade. And not to sound weird or anything, but she was like a little white girl. And I remember she kept like, she just kept like trying to flirt with me and try to cake with me and shit. And usually I would just disregard her. Like, I'm just like, I wouldn't say shit back to her. I'll just focus on my shit. Like, I would be serious enough to let her know that, like, all right, like, I'm not trying to talk to you or anything like that. But on this day, like, I couldn't stop fucking smiling when she was like, when she would do anything. And I just remember thinking, like,